I think a lot of people in my generation particularly are reinventing retirement. It doesn't mean necessarily playing golf or cards. Retirement is being reinvented, I believe. My name is Nine Keneally. I live in Bushwick, Brooklyn. I just turned 65 years old, which is startling. And I've been in Bushwick for just under 4 years, after 30-some years in Connecticut. I personally came to New York when it was still generationally very diverse everywhere, and income diverse everywhere. I lived on West 58th Street when I was 22 years old, next to the plaza. Nobody could do that now. I've always wanted to come back to New York. I'm a city girl at heart. I was thinking about something else to do when we moved to Bushwick to keep myself busy, because I don't like not being busy. I was a theater producer for over 35 years, and that certainly gives me communication skills, business skills, negotiating skills. I worked also as a drug and alcohol abuse counselor for 8 years, so I have a lot of counseling skills and listening skills. I worked in my kids' schools, volunteered, so all those things combined to make me interested in the larger world, the larger picture. I came up with this idea as I was talking with young adults. Maybe they sometimes need someone a lot older, but a little bit wiser to talk to when they have problems or questions or issues. So I came up with this idea for a business called Need a Mom. And Need a Mom is when you need a mom, just not your mom. We used to joke, if it didn't work, we would just say, this being Bushwick, that it was really just a conceptual art project. I love the energy of Bushwick. I love the demographic, which is not all young people. It's a great mix of people. I think as much as we can keep that diversity, it's crucial to the life of the city. I have 2 sons, both of whom live nearby. We see each other frequently, but not too often. My husband is still working, and we're not in the position that we're, just wealthy retirees who could be on the Upper East Side and chose Bushwick because it's hip and cool. No, we chose Bushwick because we could afford to live here, and also because I could pursue some interests that might help generate some income. Hi, how are you? Oh, I'm sorry. She looks good. It ebbs and flows, because I find most of the young people I meet do not need weekly sessions. They need a one-off once in a while when they're dealing with a problem. But it's been great. It's been very fulfilling. I've loved the people I've met.
When I met Nina, I was so depressed. My dad passed away. I was supposed to be getting married and I changed my mind. I was just a real mess. I think that my depression was on its way out anyways, but starting the relationship with Nina has done nothing but help.
I can say, well, when I was your age, I had a problem. Some of the things I did to solve it or to deal with it were X, Y, and Z. Well, and you've done great. You've gotten this place. You've managed to take that trip this summer. I mean, you've been really responsible for yourself, which is great. Those are things you have to give yourself some credit for sometimes. And I really think for young people right now, it is such a competitive city. And I think sometimes it's hard for families to understand that when young people are living here, what it takes. Need a Mom is different than a traditional therapy session in one way. A therapist cannot actually do much disclosure, but I can do a little self-disclosure. I'm very careful. I have very good clinical boundaries.
There was one week she was busy and I was busy, and I just told her about some of my fears with my cousin moving in with me, and she sent me this really long, heartfelt email in response. And I've seen therapists that are $300 an hour that haven't taken that kind of time to write a personal response like that.
I'm able to discuss things with a different level of empathy and involvement than a traditional therapist can. And I'm very clear though, I am not a therapist. I will tell you that, and I will be happy to help you find one, which can be challenging in and of itself. I'm involved with a number of things. I also work at a gallery, an art gallery in Bushwick called David & Schweitzer Contemporary. I do office manager support work for them, and also when the gallery's open, sometimes they're there to show people the art and talk about it and make some sales. So that's very diverse and changes all the time. We want to have a voice in national issues, but the role of the Bushwick artist, first of all, it is to be engaged in your community with what's happening and with an eye to the larger world.
I'm an immigrant, I'm a woman, I'm a mother, so it's very personal. I want to be part of the national conversation, and actually it's international conversation because it's a problem for the whole world,
Right.
not just for America.
Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey!
I've been very active lately in social and activist causes. Sibeli and I put a bus together to go to the Women's March in January. One thing I have found that everyone in Bushwick right now, the young people especially, are very galvanized by the results of the election and the changes happening in our society. And it's been kind of gratifying to see people get their noses out of their navels and become active in the larger world.
Good. Good. How's everything?
I'm good.
Yeah, good. Gearing up for the campaign, and the campaign, everything's going well?
The intergenerational relationships are very valuable. When you have someone like Nina who's able to bring that old school community building component, she's able to bring younger people into conversations that I think matter to everyone.
Votes are important, voices are important, showing up is important. You can't do it all from sitting behind your computer screen.
90% of what goes on in your everyday life is affected by local government. While the federal government might speak for the entire country, we as a city can fight back by pushing more progressive policies on a local level.
It's very important to be active at a grassroots local level. That's where you can affect the most change to start with. It's finding candidates that you can work with and that you can support on that local level. A lot of people, in my generation particularly, are reinventing retirement. It means pursuing things you're passionate about, be it art, be it activism, be it involvement in your community, be it starting another job that you've always wanted to try. Someone in the park did say, well, you're retired, right? And it sent a shock wave through my soul because I can't imagine it.